everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in February. Now the first book that I did read in February is Check Please, first book in a series by Ngozi Akazu. I loved this. I rated this a full 5 stars. This was freaking fantastic and I can't wait for book 2. I read this for a readathon, and in fact the majority of these books that I'm about to talk about is because I've read them for a readathon. Eric Biddle is our main character, also known as Biddy, and he's I was about to say transfiguration. Wow. Harry Potter on the brain still. He's a figure skater that got a scholarship to play hockey at a Massachusetts-based college. He's originally from the South. I want to say he's originally from Georgia. And he specifically chose this school to go to because as a gay young man in the South, he didn't feel like that he can be truly himself, and so he wanted to go to a school that really was accepting of LGBTQ students. And this school was actually rated one of the top most okay for queer students to go to. Most accepting, rather. That's the word I'm looking for. The most accepting college to go to if you're LGBTQ. It follows the shenanigans that he has with his teammates and him trying to deal with his crush that he has on his captain. I thought he was so adorable. I thought he was like the cutest kid. He was just so sweet. And because I rooted for him so hard, that definitely amped my enjoyment of this book, which is why I rated it 5 stars. Next book that I read in February is How to Land on Your Feet, Life Lessons from My Cat by Jamie Shellman. Excuse me, I've been talking a lot because I've been filming a lot today, and this is a non-fiction graphic novel, which is really just like a single panel of a cat showing a cute little life lesson, like don't take life so seriously, take a break, take a rest, and then you see a cat lounging out in the sun. It was a very cute graphic novel, like nothing like didn't wow me. The art style was definitely quirky, and if I wasn't such a cat person, I probably wouldn't have rated it as high as I did, but I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. Next book that I read for February is First Year Out, a transition story by Sabrina Symington. This is also a graphic novel. The story follows Lily, who's the trans woman, and this is the first year that she transitions. And it just follows her life as like when she first comes out to her parents and how her parents deal with it, to her love life, and it finishes at the end with her finally going through sex reassignment surgery. Our author is also a trans woman, and so a lot of these events is based on her own life, and I liked being able to see like a window of someone else's life, but I obviously wasn't the intended audience. Like I didn't necessarily love it, but I liked seeing a different life from my own, and I thought the art style it's definitely on the quirkier side as well, like the previous graphic novel, but I didn't necessarily care for it. So in the end, I rated this 3 out of 5 stars. I feel like I've been going through these little mini reviews super fast, and I feel like I'm doing that only because I've already talked about these books on my channel, and this is more of a wrap-up. This is a quick wrap-up if you haven't watched any of those reading vlogs. So I rated First Year Out 3 out of 5 stars. The next book, The Cool Factor, A Guide to Achieving Effortless Style, with Andrea Lynette, and this was like a fashion book where the author did a photo shoot with her friends, and hey, let's talk about your style and what gives you the confidence to wear the things that you wear and why do you wear them. There were certain chapters that focused on like very specific pieces, like jeans. There was a point on wearing either leather or suede pants. It was interesting to see how you can revamp your own closet with the stuff that you already have. I thought it was worth flipping through, and so I rated this 3 out of 5 stars as well. The next book that I read was Dear Scarlet, The Story of My Postpartum Depression by Teresa Wong. This was a nonfiction graphic novel that focused on Teresa Wong's own journey with postpartum depression. After the birth of her first child, this was something that she struggled with, and I really liked that she showed how hard it was to get diagnosed to begin with, because even doctors were invalidating her feelings. This was a quick read. I wrote this in my little Goodreads notes. It was a quick read that had quite the punch. I thought it was very moving. Again, I think the art style is definitely hit or miss sort of thing, so I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read in February was Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I picked this up for that Salt Club book club with I don't even remember what the actual title of this book club is, but it's an online book club with Marinas from My Name is Marinas and Sam from Thoughts on Tomes, Connor, I think. And I'm spacing out a few other people. But it's a group of people from the booktube community that's doing this online book club. And this was, I think, January's read. And it just took me so long to read it. I liked the idea of it. Elizabeth, who's our main character, is a librarian in training for this magical library, and she somehow comes across in this situation that's unleashing the grimoires in this library, and it's killing and hurting people. She gets accused of being that person, and so she's taken from the library that she has basically spent her whole life at to stand trial for this. But no sooner did she arrive in the city, it's been cleared, like, it's been shown that she's not responsible because her life was actually in danger as soon as she, like, arrived. Like, someone tried killing her, and the people in charge went, well, if they want to kill her, she obviously didn't do it. And so she spends the rest of the book kind of, like, investigating who did it. I liked the relationship that she had with Thorn and his demon. In this world, in order to do magic, you have to actually have a contract with the demon, and that demon is basically your servant until your time is up, and then the demon kills you and then moves on to the next guy. So I liked the relationship she had with Thorn, and I liked how the demon was like, I may be helping you, but you need to not actually trust me. So I liked the character development between all these different people, especially Demon. His what's his name? I was going to just call him Demon. I think his name is Silas. Has been a while, obviously, since I'm doing this wrap up so late. I especially like the character development of Silas. But besides the relationship between these characters, I thought everything else was sort of meh, which is why I ended up rating this 2.5 stars on Goodreads. I especially did not like the villain. I feel like the villain either makes or breaks a story, and the villain broke it for me. The next book was also another read for this book club, A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole. It's a royal romance. Nalede is actually this long-lost princess, and she doesn't realize that she's this long-lost princess. And this prince, who's been betrothed to her ever since they were young, finds out where she is and then goes to her, but pretends to be someone else, and so she can, like, learn to trust him. And this way he can figure out, like, why she left to begin with. So it was definitely one of those, like, miscommunication sort of tropes happening with this romance. However, eventually the story evolves from mistaken identity to something more serious, because eventually Naledi does find out who this guy truly is, and she also finds out that the kingdom where they're from, there's this infectious disease running amok throughout the kingdom. And as someone who's studying to be a doctor in that specific field, she's gone off to see if she can help. I loved the romance element of this book, but once it made that switch to the infectious disease, I kind of lost interest. I especially hated who our villain was that caused all of this to begin with. And we also never find out why she disappeared. It was kind of like brushed off as this villain won't actually say why her parents took her away, and I guess we'll never know. Well, that's not very satisfying. This would have been a better read for me if there was more backstory revealed. So I ended up rating this 3.5 stars on Goodreads. Alrighty, we're getting towards the end. There's only 2 more. I have to say, I can see the appeal of doing weekly wrap-ups because this is a lot to do in one video. The next book I read, Just Peachy, Comics About Depression, Anxiety, Love, and Finding the Humor in Being Sad by Holly Chisholm. This was kind of had the same vein as the Cats graphic novel. More like panels and rather than an overarching, like, story arc. But I liked the idea of it. It was basically very encouraging to those who deal with mental health issues. I struggle with my own mental health, and so I did find this really encouraging and really cute at parts. So content is relatable. The art style was on the cute side. Again, on the quirky, modern side. And so if you have a very specific taste in the art style that you consume, this may or may not be a hit or miss for you. Again, I rated this 3.5 stars on Goodreads. Alrighty, now we're down to the last book. The last book that I read in February is The Witches Are Coming by Lindy West. I read Shrill by the same author, not last year, I forget when, but I read it based on Sylvia's from Wish Fulfillment's recommendation, and I loved it. So I was really looking forward to this book when it came out pretty recently, and I was correct. I loved this a lot. Again, this is a nonfiction book. It's a collection of political essays that are left-leaning. And so if you don't agree with that political sphere, you're not going to like this. I do, and so I absolutely loved it. It focuses on like the Me Too movement and other like feminist topics. And very much like with Shrill, I found Lindy West to just be funny and insightful. I just thought this was a fabulous book. So a full 5 stars, 5 out of 5, and I feel like this is definitely one of my more favorite reads of the year. That's it. That's everything that I read for February. Let me know down in the comments of your thoughts on some of these books. Let me know if you're participating in that reading club. I unfortunately didn't get to read March's book. With everything that's going on, my request for that book just never came in. Thoughts and comments on anything are always appreciated, and as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I guess it's ta-ta for now. Bye guys!